Good evening. Welcome to our second annual Forum on National Women's Equality Day on August 26th. This is the day that women in America won the right to vote in 1920. And that's, of course, after many decades of fighting for it, so that we can all vote in 2024. I'm Amy Shapiro, your co-chair for the evening. I'm an author, publisher, holistic therapist, and proud daughter of Dorothy Amder, a feminist whose legacy led me to create the event last year in Lanesville for our first forum, with a lot of help, including from Val, our city councilor at large, and our mayor, who you'll be meeting momentarily, and many other volunteers. Our 2024 theme is mentoring and women who advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion, because our differences enrich us, and because freedom means treating each other as equals, and because we all deserve justice. In your bags, hopefully you have received a bag and a little one of these Dreams Can Come True magnet. I drew this magnet when I was healing from a lengthy injury about 20 years ago, and my only dream was to recover. And tonight, our wish is for each of you to follow your dreams wherever they will lead you, because we believe in all of you. It's an honor and pleasure to have been coordinating this event this year and last year with our city councilor at large, Val Gilman. Last year was the council president, who is savvy, resourceful, kind, and considerate. Please help me thank Val, our Mayor Verga, our city councilors, our wonderful organizations who are all here represented tonight, and our volunteers who made this evening so special. Let's have a round of applause for everybody. And now Val is going to overview the program for you and recognize our fabulous sponsor.
Thank you. I'm very familiar of how to use this microphone, better than the other one. Thank you, Amy, for your kind introduction. As women, many of us in this auditorium tonight have experienced challenges in our careers. Today's celebration allows us to stand confidently together amongst supportive women and men, commemorating the anniversary of women's right to vote. I will reflect briefly. My first summer job here in Gloucester at the age of 14 was in the basement of the Gloucester Stage Company, constructing boxes to ship live eels to Germany. After my first week of work, my boss was so excited to hand me my first employment check. He told me I was making the same hourly rate as the guys, but then he said, "Whatever you do, don't tell them." So, this childhood memory resonates with this year's national theme of women who advocate for equity, diversity, and inclusivity, and was perhaps the reason why I headed into a 25-year career in HR, and more recently as a public servant. We have a packed agenda tonight, and you can follow along in this detailed program put together by Amy. The precision in this was excellent, and you can read everything about everything that's happening if you follow along. After proclamations from Mayor Verga and our City Council President, Tony Gross, we will listen to a panel discussion moderated by Studio 1623's Heather Atwood. And we will recognize after that about a dozen recipients, actually 16, for their contributions to our city in outstanding mentorship. That will go fast. We're going to ask everybody to line up with the person that is nominating them with the person, and we're just going to go right down the line, and it's going to be really exciting. And after that, we're going to be breaking out to have a conversation about what resonated with the panel discussion, and I'm really excited about this. In conclusion, it takes a village to host a citywide forum to celebrate women's right to vote. First, a shout out to our sponsor, Andre Gillian Group of Angles and Volkers. Andre Robert and Gillian Boucher, please stand up if you would. Thank you. The swag bags, the postcards, the decorations was all because of their generosity. Totally appreciated. Thank you to the Open Door for providing our community with snacks and water in the back. We have granola bars, healthy snacks, fruit, and water. And I have to say, the popcorn machine blew a fuse, so we're not having popcorn tonight, and therefore the coffee wouldn't work, and we had everything ready to go. But whatever, we're here, and we're back at City Hall, and we're really excited about it. I also wanted to give a shout out to the Wellspring House for hosting all of the post-forum materials on its website, including the link to tonight's Studio 1623 video that is being recorded and will be available probably in a week. So that's just a really nice offer, and we appreciate that. So if you want to see the information about the group breakouts and what people discussed, you'll have an opportunity to go on that website and see the material. I'd also like to thank Studio 1623 for partnering with our wonderful city's IT department to memorialize this forum for future generations. Thanks to the custodians, Bobby and Darren, for helping set up. This is like a wedding plan here. It was not easy, so we really appreciate it. And thanks to Mayor Verga for hosting this citywide celebration and allowing us to use Cairo's auditorium. Finally, to my co-chair, Amy Shapiro. Amy spoke minutes ago of her mom being a pioneer for women's rights. Amy, you have done your mom proud by organizing your first forum last year in Lanesville and being a co-chair this year here at City Hall. Thank you for your passion, your hard work, and your unparalleled commitment to women's rights. At this point, I'd like to ask Mayor Verga to come up to do the city proclamation, followed by our council president, Tony Gross. Thank you, Mayor.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, I'm so sorry about the popcorn and the coffee. Building predates electricity, so just keep that in mind. And, you know, a big round of applause for Amy and Val for organizing this. And thank you to the panelists, and most of all, thank you to everyone here who's joined in on this great occasion. So I'm going to read this proclamation here. Women's Equity Day, August 26, 2024, a proclamation. Whereas Women's Equity Day commemorates the ratification of the 19th Amendment, which granted the women of America the right to vote and provides an opportunity to reflect and celebrate the ongoing journey towards women's equality and empowerment, and whereas we honor the tireless efforts of suffragettes who fought for the right to vote and their enduring commitment to equity in a time of significant inequality. We acknowledge that BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, and people of color women face significant barriers that hindered their full participation in the electoral process, including discriminatory practices and systematic obstacles that limited their access to voting. And whereas the continued work to achieve full equality and to protect the rights of women across America demonstrates the courage and the perseverance of women, we recognize the meaningful contributions of countless women in our city and are grateful for their leadership in these critical conversations and their commitment to creating a just future. And whereas we recognize the role in supporting this important work and stand united with women in their pursuit of gender equality, now therefore I, Greg Verga, Mayor of the City of Gloucester, do hereby proclaim August 26, 2024 to be Women's Equality Day. I encourage all of Gloucester's residents to reflect on the progress that has been made toward achieving women's equality and the work that remains to ensure the protection of women's rights and full gender parity. Given under my hand and the seal of the City of Gloucester, this 26th day of August, 2024. And that's it. Thank you. Oh, should I be second? Yeah, sure. Taking the picture.
Andre, our sponsor.
Surprise. How's that? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Can I have the honor of introducing our council president, Tony Gross, and then he will introduce one of his fellow councilors.
Thank you. What a privilege this is. Are there any other counselors in the room? No? Okay. Just want to make sure we don't miss anybody. This is City Councilor, Ward 3 City Councilor Marjorie Grace, who's standing with me, as well as Councilor at Large, Valerie Gilman. Sorry. But I first want to, Greg, of course, said all the thank yous, so that's already been taken from me. So, yeah, but I just want to say I was very privileged to have my entire life surrounded by strong women. There's a few people in this room that actually do still remember my mother, who was born 2 years before the 19th Amendment. And if she wasn't, she would have been, well, she was probably out there marching it too, but who knows. Anyway, and then I got also very fortunate to marry a woman who was quite accomplished and very strong in her own right and has been a wonderful partner. And my life has been, I believe that we'd be much better off if we were in a meritocracy. So that's just a little personal opinion that the women, if they were running this world, we would be in a much, much better place. And I really appreciate. And I want to thank all of you for being here and for all that you have done. I will read the proclamation. Proclamation to commemorate August 26, 2024 as National Women's Equality Day. Whereas women in the United States are continuously working to sustain full rights and privileges, public or private, legal or institutional, as citizens of the United States. And whereas women in every state worked to secure women's right to vote, and whereas Congress has designated August 26th, the date of the 19th Amendment, the day that the 19th Amendment was certified in 1920 as National Women's Equality Day. And whereas recognizing Women's Equality Day as a day of celebration throughout the country emphasize the importance of a women's work for democracy, and whereas we are honored to be supported by so many of our 501c3 leaders tonight at City Hall who advocate and support women's programs and our rights. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Gloucester City Council will commemorate Women's Equality Day, August 26th, as National Day of celebrating the importance of the women's suffrage movement and the work to sustain and expand equal rights today. Signed by the 2024-2025 Gloucester City Council. Thank you. Thank you.
We are now going to invite our panelists to take their seat on the stage, and Heather Atwood is going to be our wonderful moderator for the panel that is about to begin. And if you haven't yet found a water or snack and you're wanting one, you can take this moment to grab one and bring it back to your seat. And we're looking forward to a wonderful panel. Heather will be introducing our speakers.
Testing. Oh. Testing. Good. Everyone can hear? Hi, everybody. I am, oh, and there's water. Yeah, great. Okay. All right, we're all set. So, hi, everybody. I'm Heather Atwood. I work for 1623 Studios, and I have to say the very best part of my job is having gotten to know so many women in this room. That has really been the joy of just getting to know the nonprofits, the leaders, the ins and outs of all that, and how much you're all doing. So thank you for that. I also want to thank Amy Shapiro because she held, as Val said, the first Women's Equality Day event last year at the Lanesville Community Center. And now I have to pull out my notes because I have something deep to say. So at that event, I think everybody left feeling reminded of just how important it is to be aware of the fight for women's rights. And it is hard to believe that just over 100 years ago, we couldn't vote. Women could not vote. But the other thing that we left with that day was a reminder of the amazing women in this community and how much their rise to their seats of power have served this community. You know, it's just women have done so much in this community to help it. And we all left saying, wow, there's some incredible people here. So, having said that, I'm going to introduce this group of amazing women. And I can really honestly say that this community is more equitable, it's more innovative, and it's more dynamic because these three women have risen to the positions they have. And I'm going to introduce their titles. We have executive director, a professor, and a captain. That's pretty good, right? So our first panelist, and this is in alphabetical order, is Melissa Dimond. She is the executive director of Wellspring House, a Gloucester-based initiative that inspires families and adults on the North Shore to achieve financial security. Katie Kahl is the Director of Strategic Initiatives at the UMASS Amherst Gloucester Marine Station, and she is also a professor in the Department of Environmental Conservation at UMass Amherst. Christa Miller-Shelley is the captain of the Schooner Adventure. So thank you all for being here. It's really been fun getting to know them. I am going to start by asking you each simply to tell us about your work and why you love it. And do you want to go first? We can switch.
How's this? Is this working? Okay, great. Hi, everybody. I'm Melissa Dimond. I am a lucky person to live here in Gloucester. I've lived here since 1998 with my family. It's a great place to raise a child who's now 21. And I've been at Wellspring for 9 years. I've been working in the nonprofit industry since well before I finished school, high school and college. But I've been doing it in Massachusetts for 31 years. And really what I love about the work that I do is I love solving problems. I get really angry when when there isn't social justice. And I said to a colleague at work last week, I think it's actually good that I'm always a little bit angry about something that's going on because it keeps me going. We have problems to solve. But that's really what's most satisfying for me is there's something that's not quite right. I feel like I or a combination of myself and other people have something to offer, and then we do it. It's even better if someone says it can't be done, and then we do it anyway. So.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks so much for coming out on this beautiful night when I know we're ready to eke out the last evenings of summer on the beach. Thank you for spending your time with us. So as Heather said, I'm Katie Kahl. I work at the UMass Amherst Gloucester Marine Station. I moved here with my husband and one of my sons who are over there, and the other one is not able to be here tonight. But we moved here in November of 2017 to get closer to family, grandma and grandpa, aunts and uncles. There's an uncle over there too, and cousins and old friends of my husband. He's from Gloucester. And so I started working at the Marine Station shortly after that. And I have to say, not in a million years did I think I would work for a university, because not that I don't love this job, because I really, really do. And the part about it that I love the most is that is the connections to people that I get to make, and the connection to issues on the North Shore, in the Commonwealth, but on the North Shore specifically, that I get to make. So it's my job as a faculty member who is hired to do a little teaching, do some student mentoring, conduct my own research, but the biggest part of my job is really to understand what communities on the North Shore, businesses, nonprofits, our state and federal partners, where are the intersection to the issues that we're looking at around fisheries, around climate change, around blue economy. What are those programs that we can pull together and then introduce opportunities to students, bring in faculty from Amherst, and start research projects that really matter to folks here, and that's a pretty rewarding job. The end.
I am Captain Christa Miller-Shelley of Schooner Adventure. She's a National Historic Landmark here in Gloucester, built in 1926 locally in Essex, and many of you have heard my spiel, but out of about 4,000 of these vessels built, she is one of 4 to still be sailing today. So let's acknowledge the amazing efforts from everyone on that. I relocated to Gloucester last spring specifically to work for Adventure. My career in sailing started 13 years ago, which at that point I didn't realize it was a career. It was just a quick post-grad school, get some adventure out, do a fun thing, and within a few days of stepping on board Spirit of Massachusetts, which was a replica fishing schooner, I actually came to Gloucester for the Gloucester Schooner Festival, which will be happening this weekend, and was totally captivated by the city, by the power of the vessels, and pretty much I was hooked. And within a couple of years, I realized that there was no turning back, and this was now my new career path. So the greatest thing I love about my position is the fact that I get to be a part of living history and create experiences for people to hopefully have a life-changing moment of their life, whether it being inspired by the nature or the power of the vessel, the history of the vessel, or the connections they make through the vessel. I mean, we have an incredibly robust volunteer program. We have thousands of people come on the boat every year, whether it be through our deck tours, our community outreach, education, public sales, and charters, all of it. They all provide an opportunity just to connect with people and create a moment that could have significance in their life, and just really, hopefully, spark something in them.
All right, so this question is really for all of you, and feel free to pass the mic back and forth and kind of talk amongst you. What has mentorship looked like to you, either being mentored or mentoring, and how can women do a better job of mentoring?
Okay. I've been lucky enough to have some really great mentors in my life since I was a very young person, and I still have mentors that I depend on today, and I think it's equally rewarding to have been a mentor to some folks, students now, interns that I've had in previous jobs, and I think there's really something in the pay it forward, right? Good fuels good, and being able to have students or old interns come back and share how valuable it was to have a certain conversation that helped them make a decision, a small thing, right? That you don't think in that moment you think it's just a conversation, but it ends up being really important to that person in that moment. And I certainly experienced that myself.
So I've had a lot of different ways that I've been mentored, whether directly or indirectly throughout my career. And one of the greatest things that I've taken from all of my experiences is not just the positive mentorship, but the mentorship that came through challenges and the mentorship that came from, maybe not being given the chance or not being believed in, and then in turn taking the power in myself and moving forward to continually just prove otherwise. And so through all of these experiences for myself, in my position, I have so many opportunities for mentorship, not only through our education programs and working with students, and through the volunteers and teaching volunteers when they come on board, and then of course my crew. I just continuously reflect on my experiences and the way I felt, and a lot of the time I find myself looking at both the positive and the negative experiences and saying, what do I want to take from this? What do I want to do differently? And how can I make it so that these people who work under me and look up to me and are just part of this crew, that it's so great in this community, so expansive beyond the vessel. What can I do so that they don't necessarily have to have those feelings that I had of not being enough at times or not being given opportunities? And what can I do to just continue to make them feel like they have the power to just step up and do almost anything?
I think for me, kind of looking back over time, there were so many times when I didn't even know I was being mentored. I had no idea that there was someone who was actually taking a lot of action behind the scenes to make opportunities for me. And in light of, what can women do better, I actually think we can be more explicit about it. I think we can be more public about the ways in which we naturally support each other or really intend to support each other. We had the advantage of getting together last week, and it was one of the best conversations I've had in a really long time. And I was like, why don't we just do this more and talk about what it's like to be women in the workplace and women in leadership positions? But things anywhere from, I was a preemie when I was born, so I was really little, shorter than everybody for the first number of years. And I had no idea that my mom was like, yeah, from behind for, years, sort of wanting me to, every time I sort of, did something at school or won an argument, or I didn't even know. We have stories about times when she was excited when I beat my older sister at something. And it wasn't until later that I came to really appreciate that. And there were lots of people all along in my learning and my career who were supporting me, whether it was hiring or making way for me to try something new or have an opportunity, even if it was just giving me the chance to do something that I wanted to be able to do. I used to work inpatient at Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital, and I used to work in the cardiac ICU. This is a long time ago, and there was a patient who had a reaction to an experimental drug and was not going to survive, but his parents wanted him to die at home, which was Haifa, Israel. So it was my job to figure out how to get him home so he could die at home. And I could have, carted that off to somebody else, but my supervisor said, I don't see why you can't talk to the vice president of the hospital. You're the one doing the work. You're the one working with the family. Go talk to him. And I did, and therefore got to have that responsibility and that recognition. So it's just an example of someone saying, why wouldn't it be you? I support you. You can do it.
So Melissa reminds me of this conversation that the four of us had before we moved into this panel. But one of the things that we talked about that I'd like to follow on with Melissa's anecdote about her mother supporting her from behind, is in mentorship, allowing people to have their own voice and being aware of when you should step in and be the voice for someone, or when you should stand back and let them have their own voice. So the story that we talked about had to do with someone being belittled at work and a mentor of theirs stepping in and pulling the person that was doing the belittling out of the meeting separate and speaking, and she just sent a text message to the person who had been belittled saying, "Don't worry, I got this." So the person that was feeling the victim in this situation felt safe, knew that they were being recognized, and at the same time didn't have to be singled out. So I run into this a lot on the boat with crew members, like maybe they don't know how to do something or they've made a mistake, and just acknowledging, you're safe, everything's okay, it's all right to make mistakes. We're not going to single you out for making that mistake. We're going to use this as an experience for everybody to learn. You know, maybe we learn a skill on the boat, but maybe we just learn how to better support each other and prevent these situations in the future and be more aware of people's reactions and feelings and what they need to really step up and come into their power, as I've said.
I personally love that takeaway, that mentoring means one of the important elements is keeping someone safe or making someone feel safe in the workplace, whether they're being criticized, and that is inevitable, but to be able to know that the workplace is safe for that kind of growth. Thank you, everybody, for that answer. So the next question is a little bit like the last one, but it's also a little bit different. How do we lift each other up?
I guess I'll start. I mean, I just want to say that having these conversations with a bunch of other women that have had similar experiences in different fields, and we talk and we feed off of each other, and there's a certain vibration of energy that rises up where you just feel yourself immediately being elevated simply by being in the presence, hearing other people's stories, whether it be their positive stories or their challenges, and just being able to connect on that level on a very open and honest and, in many ways vulnerable level, because at the core, especially as women in leadership positions, most of us have the same insecurities and doubts and fears at our core. And it's really hard to acknowledge that, and being able to just feel safe again to acknowledge it with another person and have them say, yeah, I get that. And then making those things, it makes those things fizzle out, and you can in turn be like, oh my gosh, you've gone through this? How do you deal with it? How do we get through it? And then feeling like we're moving forward as a unified force, because especially I've noticed with women, as we get together and as that energy stirs up, there's something really powerful that comes out of it that is pretty unstoppable once it gets going.
And building on that, I think that when I'm going to back up and then get to that statement. When I started in my role, there were a few, as being someone new to the community when I moved here, there were a few people that reached out right away with a handwritten note, or when I moved into the position, coming out to take me to lunch and say congratulations, or just a quick phone call. And these are such small things. And we all know that we can do that for people. But when you're new at something, or even when you've been there for a while, it's really nice to get that little bit of encouragement, or the compliment, or the note of, wow, good job today. That was a really nice way you said that, and I feel like as much as it's nice to support other folks too, it's also really important to be brave and ask for the help when you need it, right? And you can ask to be lifted up. If anybody called me up and said, wow, I'm really you aren't going to believe what happened today. And of course we would all take that opportunity to help lift someone up around us, but having the vulnerability and feeling brave enough to ask for help is really hard sometimes, especially if you are in a decision-making capacity. So.
One of the things that we agreed is that we would all start hanging out together. So we can just keep doing this all evening long, and we'll keep it going. I think one of the most important things to me is to be really clear about what matters to me, and I have colleagues here tonight, people I really love working with at Wellspring, and I hope it's true that they know that I have a bottom line and I'm not going to go beyond it. If I say something, I believe something, I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And that takes chutzpah or bravery perhaps, but it's also because I'm in a community where I know I'm going to get support for taking a stand. Both Wellspring, my family, this community of Gloucester. That's number one. And then the other thing I would just say is I've often worked in places where there have been more women than men because of the kinds of institutions that I've worked in, or even if I've worked in environments where there are plenty of men around. I've been in a department where there are more women than men. And that by itself does not guarantee opportunity for women, I'll just say. It only happens when we decide that it's important to us. Because in an environment where there's scarce opportunity, women can actually get in each other's way. And I've been in environments where that was true, and I've been in environments where that is not true. And we have to fight for that. We have to say that that's important to us, and we will protect each other's opportunity and ability to succeed and not get in the way because of something outside of us that's limiting our opportunity. So I think for me, that's having a bottom line, being really explicit about what that is, and getting support from others.
I just want to say one more thing, that by all of you filling this room and all of you watching from afar or watching the recording, you are lifting us up.
I actually, we have a couple of minutes. I actually wouldn't mind if you guys each took a little time to say more about the intent, because I think that's really important. When Melissa was saying that it worked when a group actually was intentional about mentoring or lifting people up. It didn't always happen otherwise. And I think what we're doing here today is certainly intentional. And it is a great way of, as you said, Christa, lifting people up. But there's intent here. So do you want to just take a second to say something more about that? If you aren't comfortable, that's okay. Go ahead, Melissa. And I meant all of you, but whoever wants to speak. Yeah.
I can just give an example in our current work at Wellspring. So one of the main focus points of what we do here in Gloucester and across the North Shore is help people achieve the goals that they want to achieve to become stable in their lives. Financially stable, stable housing, being able to raise their families the way that they want to. And we have an explicit goal to hire folks who have been in our programs. And so what I say about that is, if we're at all good at what we do, training people to be successful in the workplace, we should want to hire the people who we are assisting. And so currently it's about a quarter of our payroll are folks who've been in our programs. And where the explicit piece comes in is to say out loud, there's opportunity. We're thinking about what your pathway might be, and not only some anonymous opportunity out there, we're explicitly making opportunity available for you here in this organization. So if you want to learn more about opportunities here, you want to do a job shadow or an interview or learn more about what any of us do in this organization, we want that to happen. And so if we didn't do that, if we weren't clear, then A, we would lose the opportunity to hire really talented people, but B, they might not even consider that this is the place for them. So that's one example.
I guess I could translate that idea of intent in the sciences and in the environmental sciences, which is my area, maybe through an example like this, that when I started out in undergraduate as a biology major, there were definitely more men than women in the field, and I would say 3/4 of the men, or 3/4 of the professors were probably men in the program that I was in. And then as I moved through a master's and PhD program, I mean, I would say by my PhD in the department that I was in anyway, it might have had more women students. The faculty was probably pretty evenly split. It feels like that, it's, just referring back. But there was certainly it would get discussed in classes that women in the sciences are on the rise and should feel empowered, and there were special scholarships for women in the sciences, and there still are, but it's the intent is there now more so than it had been. But as I move from a reflection I was making to someone recently was that as I move from great big Midwest states in the Great Lakes region, where you have all this land and all these organizations have room to do their thing, to little tiny New England states, where there's all the same government organizations and maybe more nonprofits and lots of people in a small space and not as much public land, maybe that does breed competition in people trying to do really great things. And it's not competition as in, I'm going to get there before you, but there's only so much space, only so much dollars, only so many programs. And it's been something I've been wrestling with lately, where it feels kind of harder sometimes. And I don't know. All I'm going with this is that, to get back to Heather's question about intent, that we can remember to be intentional about inviting people in, that the pie can be big enough if we decide it is, right? And even when it feels competitive, don't be that one that makes it feel so hard. Make the bigger circle. Think about how the pie is big enough, because it can be if we find a way. Maybe that sounds a little Pollyannish, but that's my intention I'm setting for myself in my job.
To piggyback on this idea of making the circle larger, in my career, I've worked for both vessels that are privately owned and nonprofits. And what I've found is that there are vessels where there's a strict hierarchy, captain, mate, deckhands, and then there are passengers, and everyone's separate, and you're there to run a business, you're there to make income. The difference, with an organization like the Gloucester Adventure, is the intent of opening it up to the community, the intent of educating, the intent of creating a space where people can come and experience and learn. And again, opening that circle and maybe even creating a little competition amongst ourselves so that we can grow. Because in reality, if we don't have a little competition, we can get a little stagnant. And that just is part of that lifting each other up. Being like, oh, if you can do that, what can I do? Maybe I can do it better. And continuing on so that we continue to inspire each other. But really, setting this intention, it's right in our mission statement on Adventure, is to educate. And that may look like bringing students on, but the way that I look at it is creating a space where anybody can be educated about anything, whether it's a crew member looking to get better at their skills. We've had so many that have just come because they've been sent to me because people said, oh, you can learn from Captain Miller-Shelley, you should go sail on Adventure, you can learn to do this, you can learn to do that. Or volunteers that, I just had someone this evening say they're willing to come do maintenance, so learning how to take care of a historic landmark. Or, having our girls on Adventure come and they're learning how to run the vessel, which is so incredibly empowering to have an 11 or 12-year-old driving the boat, handling the 260 horsepower engine, handling the halyards that are carrying 4,000 pounds, any of that. And that can't happen if you don't have that intent to create those opportunities.
What advice would you give to We can do that. Thank you, Christa. Okay, what advice would you give a young woman facing jobs and opportunities today?
Since I'm holding the mic, I guess I'll start. But I'd really say that, regardless of whether you're a young woman or a young man, the limitations are only what you make them. And you're really no different than anybody else. I mean, we're all unique individuals, so we're different in those regards. But the fact is, if you want something, you can have it. And just because it seems like something is limiting you, maybe that's actually just an opportunity to take a slightly different path and find a more authentic way of getting to where you're going that had an opportunity that you didn't even realize possible. So just keep moving forward.
I feel like I've gotten that question, especially from younger students, lots of times about just tell me about your path and tell me about what your advice is. And I often say, try lots of things. Do those summer internships. If we're talking to young people, and I know there's a few in the audience tonight, I see you down there. Try lots of things. What's it feel like working in this type of job versus that one? And where's the place where you feel more natural and where you thrive? And in that same vein, really do some soul searching and think about what your strengths are. Are you comfortable in a communications role, in a more analytical role, in a more of a leadership role or a supporting role, and then look for opportunities where your strengths can really shine. Those things that feel easy to you are the things that you're probably really good at. And being really honest with yourself and recognizing those things is some secret sauce.
I think this is for young women, but I think it's just for women in general. And we see this a lot in the work that we do at Wellspring. If somebody offers you a job, never accept it right away. Always pause and tell the person that you'll call them back because you might be worth more. We find that it happens a lot where someone feels grateful to have the opportunity, but in fact, if they do their homework or they get some advice or they talk to a coach or a mentor, really that employer can easily pay more and we should be asking for it. So that's number one, is that that happens with women all the time. And then number two, I think I would simply say, even though we might feel this way, young or not, you're never alone. I'll just say for myself, if you see me on a bus or walking down the street or in the post office somewhere, I'm happy to talk to someone. And I think it's easy for us to say, oh, they've got it all together, or they wouldn't want to talk to me. And the only way we're all going to be successful is if we're connected. So take that risk to reach out, because chances are that person is going to be really happy that you did.
So that concludes the panel. Thank you, ladies. You did such a great job. I think it was, can we have a hand?
So before we excuse you, I would just like to say thank you on behalf of Amy and I and all these people that are here tonight. When we chose this panel, we knew that each of you were vibrant, confident, had so much going on, and love our community. And with Heather as a moderator, how cool is that? So thank you so much, and I hope you continue your conversations, because we need people like you leading the charge on so many issues in our community, and we appreciate you. So thank you so much.
Okay, Val, I have one more thing to say that I got off Instagram today.
Okay.
When women thrive, we all thrive.
So in just a minute, we're going to excuse you, and we're going to all fight for that microphone. in the next exercise. But I also wanted to just thank Senator Bruce Tarr is here tonight, just came from another event, and we appreciate you being here to celebrate National Women's Equality Day with us. Thank you, Senator. And I have to give a shout out to Melissa Cox, who is my helper starting at 3:30 today, and she ordered me around. It was awesome. So now, smart women in the room, we're going to tax you on a challenge where you're going to look in your program, the next section, which is recognizing some key people, and we're going to ask if you can come up with the person that you're going to be recognizing and try to keep it in the order that's in the program, if that would work. So if it doesn't, it's not the end of the world. But we're going to start with Amy, and she's going to be recognizing 4 folks that were part of her group last year, the pilot group, the pioneer group at Lanesville Community Center. And then if you can all come on up, don't be shy, over here. Up here. So you're going to get who's second after Amy?
Elise, you're with me.
And who's next? I'll have to get to the program.
Over here.
Okay, I'm going to help you. First of all, it's Amy. And then it is Sarah Stanley of Hawk. And then it is Mary Bernard from Cape Ann Pride Coalition. And bring your partner, the person that you're going to be recognizing, and put them next to you. And then we're going to have Julie LaFontaine, Sarah Grow, the Open Door, next. And then we're going to have Hannah Kimberly, League of Women Voters, next. And then we're going to have Laura O'Neill from Pathways. And then we're going to have Peggy Steck for Action. And then we're going to have Emily Segal from Gloucester Education Foundation.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. All right.
And then we're going to have Melissa Dimond, Wellspring. Yep, okay. Arena McWilliam Lopez from YMCA. Katie Kahl from UMASS Amherst, Gloucester Marine Station. And then I am at the end. So bring the person that you're recognizing, put them next to you. We all have our certificates. And Heather is going to share the mic, and it's going to go right down here. And this is really important because what we heard from the folks that were talking in the panel is that we don't recognize each other enough. And the more we can build upon each other's strengths and make people feel really good about themselves, the more we can inspire great leadership and successful projects and businesses here in Gloucester. So we're excited about this. It's going to go fast. Everybody has about a 30 to 40 second. And then after that, what we're going to do is we'll ask the folks that just got the awards to stay for a photo while everyone else goes and starts setting up their tables. And you're going to have to steal some of the chairs from up here and put them around your tables because we're going to pivot to our breakout group right after this. So Amy, you're first. Start it off, and thank you all for being here.
Well, I couldn't be more excited than to start off our recognition with the fabulous 4 women that would have been 5. Stacy couldn't make it. You can read about her in the program, who are responsible for inspiring everybody last year so that we had to do it again. And that's why we have these 4 lovely women here with me tonight. And we're going to start with Fee Ciparini, who is the director of Cape Ann Veteran Services. She served in the U.S. Army, received a Purple Heart, has a background in trauma studies. Thank you, well deserved. V helps veterans and their families access veterans benefits, healthcare services, employment stability, and much more. So we want to thank you, V, for being one of our panelists last year at our inaugural event. Next, we have Elise Sinagra, MSW, Director of Gloucester Elder Services. Elise has helped lift vulnerable populations via Action Incorporated, Family Promise, Leahy Health Continuing Care, and the Office of Congressman John Tierney. Again, thank you, Elise, for being one of our Women's Equality Day pioneers. Next to Elise, we have Mayuza Alves, who serves in the Gloucester Human Rights Commission. She assists people with grievances to uphold their constitutional, civil, and human rights. Her efforts have included the driver's license bill promoting racial justice. So thank you, Mayuza. And Sunny will be delivering in person or by mail the certificate of recognition for Nicole Rashawn Scholl, who couldn't be here tonight but is highly worthy, and you can read about her in the program. So concluding this group is Sunny Robinson, a familiar face to most people here, a feminist, nurse, educator, human rights activist, especially for women and international issues. She co-founded and co-chairs Gloucester Coalition for the Prevention of Domestic Abuse and is now a housing advocate. So thank you, Sunny.
Thank you so much, Amy. Congratulations. Thank you. My name is Sarah Stanley. I'm the executive director at HAWK. I'm here to recognize Karina Rourke. She has volunteered with HAWK for over 10 years, supporting survivors of domestic abuse in court. She has given thousands of hours to ensure that survivors are greeted by a calm, warm presence, provided vital information, and supported on what is often one of the most challenging days of their lives. Karina is a beacon of hope, leveraging her experience to empower survivors. We honor Karina for directly supporting survivors to seek the respect and protection they deserve, creating a foundation for greater equality in our community.
Hi there, I'm Hannah Kimberly. I'm the president of the League of Women Voters of Cape Ann. And the League of Women Voters would like to recognize Nan Andrew for her 57 years of service in the League. Yes, really, Nan. Nan has served as our secretary for many years. We don't remember how many. She also runs our monthly study on the Constitution and the Supreme Court. Nan has registered countless high school students to vote, and she also organizes our poll workers. Nan is a shining example of someone who not only empowers voters, but who works to protect and expand voting rights and ensure that everyone is represented in our democracy. Thank you, Nan.
Wow, what a blessing to be here, everyone, right? I'm getting goosebumps. I'm Sarah Groh. I'm the Director of Advocacy and Development here at the Open Door, and it's my extreme pleasure. Many of you know Gwen Cochran-Haddon, who is right next to me here, who's lived in Gloucester for I don't know how many years, Gwen, but you've... 32 years, and she's been so impactful. But we are recognizing her today for her outstanding contributions to diversity, equity, and inclusion, especially for women. She's developed workforce training and cultural education grounded in extensive personal experience. She addresses equity, race, and diversity areas without judging, creating a safe environment for individuals, and with intent, I might add, to confront and overcome unconscious bias. She's helped the Open Door move DEI training from a checkbox to just everyday action and awareness, and is an example of a strong woman-led business impacting organizations, myself personally, and this community. Thank you so much, Gwen.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Laura O'Neill with Pathways for Children, and I am so pleased to be here tonight to thank and acknowledge Elizabeth Nunez, one of our social workers. As a dedicated family advocate, Elizabeth shines as a beacon of empowerment and motivation. With a deep commitment to nurturing family resilience, she provides unwavering support and practical guidance to her families. Her approach is compassionate, strategic. She always collaborates closely with those she works with to identify their strengths and to help problem solve. Her collaboration extends beyond supporting program initiatives and advocating for systemic improvements that benefit the broader community. She strengthens family units and fosters a supportive network that uplifts and empowers every family she touches. Thank you, Elizabeth. We're so grateful to have you.
Hi, I'm Mary Bernard. I'm one of the co-founders of the new Cape Ann Pride Coalition, and I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity to honor and thank my friend, Jai Fields, who is one of the co-founders with us of the Cape Ann Pride Coalition. Jai is also an anti-racist leader. Her work with the Cape Ann Pride Teen Division is changing lives, and her advocacy for BIPOC people is helping shape Cape Ann Pride's mission as intersectional. She's been on the board of Northern Worcester Pride. She's been a Girl Scout leader, a big sister, an advocate for LGBTQIA+ rights in many settings. Jai works at McPherson Senior Center and is organizing against racism on Cape Ann, which is not easy, y'all. She leads in everything with a loving heart and a passion for justice. And with that,
Hi, everybody. My name is Peggy Haggerty-Steck, and I'm the CEO of Action Inc., and I'm here to honor Carol Sheriff. As a lot of you know, Carol is a business owner and a civic leader who cares a lot about social justice. She founded the Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Group at the Chamber of Commerce, and as a member of Action Inc.'s Board of Directors and Action Inc.'s DEI Committee, as well as various civic and other business groups, she understands that the presence of diverse voices, identities, and experiences lead to innovative ideas, stronger partnerships, and greater sense of pride and belonging. Through her life and work, Carol has made meaningful impact in the Cape Ann community, and we are grateful to have her on our board, and she's really been instrumental in helping us move forward on issues of diversity, equity, inclusion. So thank you, Carol.
Hi, I'm Emily Siegel. I'm the Executive Director of the Gloucester Education Foundation, and I'm here to honor one of the incredible women, of which there are hundreds, that power the Gloucester Public Schools. GEF has been a long time and enthusiastic supporter of Amy Donnelly and her efforts in the O'Malley Innovation Middle School that have resulted in exposing, I would say hundreds, thousands of girls to careers in science, technology, engineering, and math. Amy was instrumental in creating the Science Center, a multi-lab facility that enables students to work together on hands-on projects designed to enhance lab skills and critical thinking. In her newer role as the science director, Amy is overseeing the expansion of the Science Center as a resource to strengthen STEM education for students in grades 3 through 8. She's a great friend to GEF and a great friend to the women and boys in the Gloucester Public Schools.
Hi, everyone. Melissa Dimond from Wellspring, and Wellspring, the whole community of Wellspring and myself are honoring Tony Waldron tonight. And the reason why we're honoring you is you are incredibly accomplished in this community, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But in particular, I want to thank you for the way that you're leaning in with Wellspring and helping us do work that we've never done before. And just as we were talking about a few moments ago, you're someone that we can be vulnerable with and say, we've never done this, we're not quite sure what the roadmap is here, and you're helping us move forward. So thank you, specifically from Wellspring. You're a dedicated community organizer. You've been pivotal in establishing Gloucester's Juneteenth Festival, now in its 4th year. As a Black woman, immigrant, and mother, your commitment to social justice stems from your passion for amplifying stories of Black, Brown, and Indigenous communities. We've been working together since 2022 to help with our project at Wellspring called History Lives Here. As an experienced educator, you're helping us connect with the community to share the histories of the Freeman family and other formerly enslaved folks in Gloucester. Your work has deeply impacted Gloucester, fostering a greater understanding of our shared heritage. Thank you.
I'm Arena McWilliam-Lopez from the Cape NY, and I'm here with my colleagues, Cassie Carlson, the Director of Health and Wellness, and together we are nominating Calandra Salo. So we're nominating Calandra for a number of reasons, and the first thing that came to mind when I walked in tonight is the term a Renaissance man. So a Renaissance man is one individual that's a master of many things. But what about all the Renaissance women among us? There are so many Renaissance women at the Y, and Calandra really embodies that. She's a health and wellness instructor in the early mornings. You're gonna make me cry. Late at night, on the weekends, she has a day job. She's an accountant by day. She has inspired hundreds of women to be stronger, to be more confident, in her classes and all around us in our organization. In fact, this summer, I brought her to our Camp Spindrift, and she helped all of our camp counselors to embody inclusion and welcoming and confidence just in their body language. So Calandra, thank you so much for all that you do for our community.
Hi, everybody. Katie Kahl, and I'm here tonight to recognize Bo Abrams, who many of you know through all kinds of different opportunities through the community. She is a caring and supportive woman who has championed great things for our education system, for numerous organizations in our community. And when I started my job at UMass Amherst, I mentioned that there were a few people in the community that reached out to me early, and Bo was one of those people. She also, in addition to reaching out to me, she reached out to Melissa Dimond, who was one of my co-panelists, and Jill Cahill, who isn't here tonight, because we were all new in our roles in Gloucester at that time. And she asked us to be members of a group that she called Ladies Who Launch. And we got together and we shared meals and we shared successes and challenges that anyone faces in a new role, and particularly maybe the challenges of women. And we shared our goals and our new leadership roles, but it was really the kind of peer mentorship group that we were talking about tonight that she created for us, again, as we were all starting out in our new roles. And that show of effort and kindness and support was so appreciated at the time and can be repeated by all of us. So thank you, Bo. This is for you.
Oh, thank you. And last but not least, I'm here tonight to recognize Avis Murray. She has been a lifetime advocate for women's equality in sports. Thanks to her efforts, field hockey was introduced the year after she graduated in 1955. In 1993, Avis was inducted into the Gloucester High School Hall of Fame as a forerunner of women's athletics. In 2009, when USTA inducted Avis into the New England Hall of Fame, 150 Gloucester friends, including myself, my mom, and my daughter, went there to honor her. For 53 years as head pro at Bass Rocks and as Manchester Athletic Club's Women's League coach, Avis continues to be an inspirational role model and mental toughness trainer for young girls and women's tennis on and off the court. I love you, Avis. Thank you. So, thank you so much. We're going to do a transition right now. I am so proud of all of you, and I would ask that the folks that just got awarded stand in front of there. We're going to take some photos, and then for those who were the ones giving the award, we ask that you go to your table and steal a couple of the chairs here so you can make the tables have 8 or 9 chairs. And we're little short chairs, so bring those back, the empty seats. And I also wanted to show you, ask you to take one of these little goodie bags from Amy and I on behalf of everything that you've done. So if you just got an award, please take one of those and smile for the camera and know that we're very proud of all of you. Thank you.
Well, judging by the lively conversations that are happening here, this could go on for another good hour or more because I see you all engaged and listening and sharing. And I want to thank, can we have a round of applause for all of our facilitators today? Now, if you have not yet given out the postcards that we've created for this year's National Women's Equality Day, please make sure you give those out. You can fill them in this evening, and this little mailbox is going to be at the front table. So if you know the address of the person you want to send your postcard to, and can fill it out this evening, we will collect them. We will put a stamp on it for you and mail it this week. And otherwise, if you want to give it some time and reflect on it, that's fine. Take your postcard home, mail it at your convenience. So our last thanks again to all of our 501c3 participants, our city department members, boards and commissions for participating in our second annual National Women's Equality Day Forum. And in your program, as Val mentioned earlier, you will see a scan code that will be the page where we will be posting information about this evening's program and the video link once the 1623 studio video is available. As well as a PDF of our proclamations. And if you have suggestions for next year's forum, based on what you've experienced today, or just want to share your thoughts, please reach out to us. We will have a feedback form on the site as well for you. So thank you all for coming. Enjoy a little more conversation, some more refreshments. Make sure you get a swag bag and a magnet. Thank you.